I've used these insoles exclusively for the past 16 months, so I'm able to comment on not just how the G8s fit and feel, but also their durability over heavy use. I have sets of G8 2620 insoles fitted in 3 pairs of cycling shoes. One pair is in my Specialized S-Works Recon mountain bike shoes, a second pair in my Specialized S-Work Torch road shoe that I use for road cycling, and my last pair is another pair of Torch shoes that I use for indoor spinning. So between all 3 cycling shoes, I've put over 10,000 kilometers of use on these insoles. G8 Performance is based out of Australia, but ships to several countries, including the UK, United States, and Canada. And in addition to the Performance Pro Series 2620 insoles I'm reviewing here, they offer custom heel wedges, Met domes, often called metatarsal pads, as well as their Performance Ignite, which is their custom heat moldable orthotic insoles. And while the insoles are said to help those suffering from foot pain and help those recovering from specific foot injuries, I think most cyclists, like me, will seek out these insoles to help them improve overall foot comfort and optimize performance. Those are the 2 main reasons I originally started exploring options for custom and semi-custom insoles. I started listening to what bike fitters were saying about how bad stock cycling shoe insoles are and why most people should consider replacing them with custom or semi-custom insoles. And this made perfect sense to me. If you look at any cycling shoe insole, the problem is obvious. First, you have the sole of the shoe, which is designed to be stiff and non-flexible so that the shoe can provide great power transfer. A race shoe will have almost no flex or cushioning to it. Then you add to that a super thin insole that is pretty much just a flat insert that can accommodate every shape and size of foot out there. But this standardization means that it cannot provide a great fit for either your foot or my foot because we all have different shaped feet. So just placing my foot onto the stock insole that came with a Specialized S-Work Torch road shoe, you can see how bad of a fit the insole is for my foot. I have a relatively high arch, so the insole isn't providing any support there. And without sufficient arch support, you'll put a lot of pressure on your forefoot, which is what was happening to me. On longer rides over 3 hours, I was getting hot spots under the balls of my feet. Neil Stanbury, when he appeared on Cam Nichols' channel, described what is happening here really well. Take a look.
And then one of the kind of logical methods of reducing forefoot pressure is to spread the pressure over a larger area. So let's say that you're putting pressure down on the pedal and there's 10 kilos of force going through with every pedal stroke. If you've got a foot that's got, let's say you've got quite a high rigid arch, which doesn't deform much, when you place pressure on that foot on the bottom of the shoe, all of the load will go through the metatarsal heads just behind the toes, right? And if your arch isn't actually contacting the bottom of the shoe, all of the 10 kilos goes through a fairly small patch, right? So if you spread that pressure over a larger surface area, you get less focal pressure on the met heads. And so the logical thing to do here is to add arch support. Yes. So if you create a situation where you're lifting up the arch just moderately, it basically takes load away from the metatarsal heads and spreads it over a larger surface area on the bottom of the foot. It might increase the surface area of contact of the bottom of the shoe by double or triple, depending upon the size of the shape of your foot and how rigid the arch is and how your met heads are contacting the bottom of the shoe. And that can be enough to just spread pressure away from the metatarsal heads and reduce hot foot and foot numbness and all that kind of stuff.
Let me tell you why I decided to go with the G8s. And it was an easy decision for me. There are 3 main types of insoles available on the market. 1, prefabricated insoles or non-custom insoles. 2, custom mold kits, like the heat molded kind that you do yourself. And 3, custom orthotics that are designed specifically for your feet by a podiatrist. What I don't like about all these options is the shape of the insole is fixed, as is your foot within the insole. It doesn't change, so if your foot changes slightly, you no longer have a perfectly fitting insole. Plus, the custom mold kits and orthotics are quite expensive. The G8 2620s are unique in that they are a semi-custom insole. You can customize the fit yourself, and you can change that fit over time as your feet change. So that's why I went with the G8s. So the G8 2620 insoles retail for $129 US and come in 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. They're suitable for flat, normal, and high arch feet. They weigh 109 grams per pair, customizable with 5 different arch pieces in 11 different positions, and they are trimmable to fit the shoe. They have a narrow heel cup and inbuilt metatarsal pad. But you can also purchase their Met domes, which can provide even more support for your metatarsal bones. Unlike the three major insole options I mentioned earlier, which essentially locks your foot into position and doesn't allow it to move, the G8s with the flexible arch piece are designed to allow the foot to move biomechanically correctly within the shoe. That being a slight expansion, contraction, and pronation of the foot. Over time, this exercises the foot, creating better blood flow and nerve-ending response. And that's why the company claims that their insoles are designed to increase foot strength and health over time, not just to be a one-time quick fix. I won't go into the fitting process in detail, but basically it goes like this. The key is the choice and placement of the arch support. So starting with the L1 or R1 arch support, depending on whether you're working on the left or right shoe, place the arch support as far forward as possible. If none of these positions are doing anything, go up one level of arch support. If it's not comfortable, move the arch support back 1 or 2 notches. After you've achieved this over a few weeks or months, you can move on to the next higher level and go through the same process, always trying to get the arch support as forward as possible. What level you finally land on depends on the shape of your foot and the strength of your foot muscles. For me, I have a high arch, so I progressively advanced to the level 3 insert in the forwardmost position, and that did me well for about a year. Then as my foot strengthened and changed over time, I found that level 3 wasn't providing enough support on long rides over 4 hours. So I started to get hot spots under the balls of my feet. I switched over to level 4 arch support placed in the frontmost position, and I now have a perfect fitting insole. So what do I think of the G8 2620 insoles? I love them. They are a game changer for me. Up to this point, I've never been able to get cycling shoes to fit perfectly and to be comfortable on really long rides of 5 or 6 hours long. These are super comfortable and completely eliminate hot spots. You will immediately feel that your feet are more secure and stable in the shoe and less fatiguing on long rides. The 5 levels of arch support and 11 adjustable positions means that it is customizable to pretty much any shape of foot. It also means you can tweak your fit as your feet change over time. Finally, the quality of the build is very good. Like I said earlier, I have over 10,000 kilometers of riding on these 3 sets of insoles, or about 3,500 kilometers per pair, and they are holding up really well. No noticeable wear at all. Now, what do I not like about them? Well, there isn't anything really. The only negative I see is the only one I've seen mentioned by other reviewers, and that's the price. At $129 US, the cost isn't trivial, particularly if you have more than one pair of shoe to fit up. And while the cost is 3 to 5 times more than what you pay for standard insoles, it's at most half the cost of custom insoles. So while I'd love to pay less for these G8 insoles, I really can't say they are overpriced based on the other options available out there. That's pretty much all I have to say about the G8 2620s. A great option to consider if you're looking to improve the fit and performance of your cycling shoes.